No, I think Fiction came after because Vinny Vegas was WCW, so he was 1992 ish, and then
93,
Pulp
yeah.
Fiction I think was 94. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat.
So John Travolta was copying Kevin Nash.
How about that?
I just remember that when he introduces himself to Uma Thurman and she says back to him in his deep, Vinny Vega, or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So something about like she says his voice like all macho back to him, and I was like, damn, wasn't that the same name? I wrestled Vinny Vegas, you know, it was my first loss in WCW.
Really? That was your first? I did not know that. Wow.
I was undefeated, bro, and you stopped that, and I haven't forgot that.
He's coming for you, Kev. Robbie V is on the
I'm
hunt.
coming hard. Mm-hmm. You seen that Brock video? I'm coming hard.
Oh, wait, no, what was this?
Oh, there's a video of a whole bunch of wrestler promos where they cut out lines like that that sound hilarious out of context.
Yeah.
Probably sounded pretty funny even in context. Like, really, that's how, you know, where I'm gonna fuck you in your ass.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
When you started and like kind of doing the promo stuff and felt like, did you felt like you needed to do like the yelling kind of thing, or did you kind of already knew that wasn't your bag and stuff like that when you were doing it?
That is a mighty fair question. Oh my god, I got 2 ashtrays.
Hey now.
I don't know. I doubt. I think probably. I mean, I was uncomfortable as hell trying to do the promos when I started out, and I can't imagine. I mean, yelling would have made me even more uncomfortable because I'm just young and green in a room full of veterans and watching them do their thing, you know, and they seem to know what they want to say, and they go up there and they say it. I don't know if it's drawing money or not, but I know that's the goal. And then here I am, like, how am I gonna answer this question about how am I looking forward to Friday night? How am I gonna answer that in a way that's gonna sell tickets? And how am I gonna answer that in a way that doesn't make me sound like a butthole? You know, there's no way I would have just broke into an Ultimate Warrior promo. I'm sure, you know, I was like, could you look, you know, like, what are my strengths? Like, everyone has what they think are interesting about themselves based on external stimuli, right? So it's like, usually people pop when I do this, so I'm going to do it, and they bend their elbow the wrong way or whatever, you know, because they're used to getting a reaction from it. That's their thing. I think that's probably true in a lot of cases such as this. I probably wanted to show my dimples, you know. Hey, what do they call the fucking, you know, white meat? I'm a white meat baby face from Battle Creek, Michigan, and I came all the way down here to get in the ring on Friday because I love this city. What's the city? Oh, I love Dalton, Georgia, and I came all the way down. And just wait till you see me on Friday. You'll see what I'm talking about.
I eat Frosted Flakes from Battle Creek.
Yeah. Right. No, there's no way I would have yelled. I mean, even when they directed me to yell later, it was still weird. Yeah. I don't know if anyone actually did, but it would have been weird.
Yeah, weird. No, the way, like, I mean, you really found the groove in ECW, obviously, and that, like, it just being like we talked about with the Mike Awesome confrontation and stuff in the ring.
You know, I watched that today. I just watched it a couple hours ago for the first time with the sound on. I don't remember any of that happening.
No, really.
I was like, oh, he does touch me. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I remember Dom said that he powerbombed me. Boom, he just did. And then kept going. And Sabu and him teamed up on me. Both put me through the table. Don't remember any of that shit.
Man, yeah. Just a wild atmosphere that was, too. Such a wild atmosphere. Really, really cool. It, like, took me right back, too, to watching it back when I was, like, it was TNN, I think, back then.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool, but it also, I mean, I'm a critic, you know, that gives unwanted advice when I say this, but personally, I get tired of the cliche, right here, right fucking now. Like, everyone, you can say that with me because you know that's what I'm going to say because you've heard it 18 million times. You know, it's like, that's like one of those cliche things. You know what's coming as soon as they say, right here, like everyone, it's like such a easy pop. But it worked there, and it felt organic and shit. But at the same time, that was just one thing that I picked out critiquing it, and it was probably both of us doing it. I don't know, but at least back then, it wasn't done as much as it has been now, and that's true with that's true with everything.
And with you too, when you did it, I mean, it was your own spin too. Like, this is RVD's version of right here.
I got time to burn.
I got time to burn.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. You mentioned this. This was like weeks ago on the episode, but you talked about. I think you were talking about Paul Heyman's induction speech, and you were saying you were watching it, but you were watching it from a promo standpoint of it all, and kind of assessing it from that regard. And I thought that was really interesting to look at it from that way. Like, hey, I'm analyzing it almost like a match, but like a
it's the same thing. That's, I mean, I can't watch wrestling just like a fan anymore. I wouldn't even know how to do that, because I'm watching, people work doing the same job that I do, and seeing them make choices and knowing when and where they're making these choices that I may agree or disagree with, and so I mean that's what a Hall of Fame speech is, basically, is a promo,
Yeah. And so anytime you do see someone cut a promo, then you automatically go into like analytical mode kind of thing, where you're just like, okay, this is what he or she is missing, or maybe what they didn't hit upon. They could have done this a little bit better or something like that, instead of thinking like,
well, I mean, like, the first level is like, was it good or not? Right. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing that any fan, anybody watching, might be like, wow, and how do you judge if it's good or not? Was it compelling? Did it engage you? If so, then automatically you got to start giving it credit. If you were into it, then you can't say it sucked too bad. Even without trying to tear everything apart, just on the basic level. And of course, basic thinkers, you guys don't go past that anyway.
That's it. That's it.
Hey, by the way, thank you to artist formerly known as Seth for the opening song again.
Oh, yes.
We should give that guy credit. I love that song.
Now
it reminds me of our recent visit to Hawaii. That was like so fun. Like every time I hear it, it brings back those vibes. And I love Hawaii. Like, it's like, I don't know, the energy there is different than anywhere else that I've been. I don't even know how to describe it. Jamaica too. A lot of it is the weather, but it's also the music, that's always playing. It seems like the trees are playing music, and it's that kind of a feel always. And when we were in Hawaii a few months ago, I was shrooming the whole time too, and so it makes me think of that. Which, by the way, a couple of weeks ago I was talking about that I was starting to take the lion's mane, and don't really have any news to report with it yet. You know what I mean? So I don't know, and I've been seeing a lot of videos that say that it's not proven to work recently too, whereas everything before was like, that is the shit. But anyway, I'm optimistic. But point is, a couple of weeks ago, I tried some of that lion's mane. Someone gave me a couple of other shrooms, and pill form, and I took that, and I don't know what else I took, but during our radiology, the shrooms started kicking. So go back and watch that and see if you can pick out right when I was talking, and all of a sudden I was just like, do I have notes? I don't want to do this anymore. Can we wrap this up?
You didn't even, if you didn't say anything to me, I wouldn't even notice, though.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, he wrote notes down? Oh, that's cool.
That tells me how much I'm normally babbling, not making any sense, because that's what I felt like afterwards. I was like, oh, I got some stuff written down I was going to talk about, but whatever.
But what? Fuck it.
That's how much sense I normally make.
Guys, if you want to get a question in, you can always just ask a question. I'll try to make it down. But you can also do Super Chat, and that helps out the show. That helps out One True Sport and gets a little buzz going. Like Liam Evans here, One True Sport. Remember, he says, hey, RVD, do you have any good Rhynos?
Liam.
Oh. Yeah. Hey there. Do you have any good Rhyno stories? He's going to be at a show in my hometown in October in Wales, UK. Looking forward to meeting the man beast. Any good Rhyno stories, Rob?
Man, that's a good question. I've been around Rhyno quite a bit. Great guy. When he broke in, Sabu was he had Sabu's approval. He was like, no, he's a good guy, and he's from Detroit, and so we're gonna do what we can for him, and liked him right away. He's a super nice guy. I think everybody would have to agree because he's a nice guy. Always tries to make you laugh, and he's try to be funny. The one thing that sticks out in my mind is when I turned heel in TNA on my last run, when Katie was managing me then. Well, first off, when they suggested that to me, that they were thinking about turning me heel, I was feeling like, but I thought I was like the most over, like guy. I was like, I thought you do that like when stuff's getting stale and you need something new. Oh, we are there? Oh, yeah, we could try it, and I was like, I'm interested. Rhyno was my partner. We were both heels. No, we were both baby faces, I guess. Whatever. I don't know. I just remember that I was turning on him, and it was at a point. Yeah, we must have been baby faces because it got the desired boo. And I don't know who we were against. It feels like it was Dreamer. That would make sense, but I don't remember the exact angle. But Rhyno was over in the corner doing his, get up, so I can do a running spear at you that's different than Goldberg or Edge because I'm a rhinoceros, and that makes it different. And then as he was like doing that, and I was in the other corner, all of a sudden out of nowhere, bam, I hit him with this sidekick in the face. Boom, and nobody expected it. I think it was really well timed to get that surprise reaction. But that was stiff as fuck. And I always felt bad because I really like Rhyno. But I really, and he even beforehand, was, he was wanting to, boom, take it. He actually said, try to control that because I want to be able to really sell it good and go and like dive through the ropes. And, oh, yeah, cool. Sounds good. And but when I went to do it on the spot, I didn't want to look at him. I didn't want to give it away. So I'm like looking around, and I just kind of used my peripheral because I wanted it to be a surprise. I wanted it to be, like a misdirect kind of handling of your attention, if you will, and super fast too. And so I wasn't really looking at it. I went bam, and then I hit him so hard that he was swelled up, and he had like a big egg, I don't know what you want to call it, on his face. That was, what do you want to call it? Anyway, it was it was nasty, and it was bleeding, and it was big and swollen up. And he had he had like friends or family there and everything. And afterwards, he's taking pictures with him, and he's all swollen up and shit. But I always, that's not the first guy that I've potatoed, but when it's not intentional, and that happens. And of course, he didn't have any hard feelings or anything. But at the same time, when it's someone that's like a really, a sweetheart like him or like Abyss, then I regret it extra over like, maybe someone that I'm like, fuck him, Sometimes I might not hold back on purpose, and even if I'm not necessarily trying to fucking hurt somebody, it's like, oh, well, let's not put as much care into it and see what happens.
Let's just have a little fun out there.
That's when on the spot, Sometimes you owe somebody a receipt, from the last one or whatever, but that's my Rhyno story. Although I'm sure I have a lot more. That's what pops in my head and dominates my brain whenever I think of Rhyno.
I like Rhyno a lot. I have yet to interview him and would love to do that. But I think he was a great.
You got him,
huh?
Spark him.
Yeah, spark him if you got him, guys. Do it to it. I know some people I think are always smoking. I liked him too. I bought him. I know he was late in the run here, but I bought him as a good ECW champion too, like a world champ. I thought he was credible and all that stuff. They built him the right way, I thought, when he had the.
Yeah, I regretted having to hand over the TV title to him in ECW, of course, because that was not a happy moment in my career after defending the belt for like 2 years and being on that run that was increasingly getting better. I was getting better. The houses were getting better. It was just an awesome time. The whole company was getting better. And, I broke my ankle, and that kind of sidelined a lot of that action for me in a match with Rhyno. And that was the first time I'd been hurt like that during a match. So I kept trying to walk it off and just obviously continued the match. People from my generation would never even think about, timeout. That's like crazy to think of the way the mindset that the guys have to be in nowadays to look at it as if you even have that option, because you got somebody trying to kill you, trying to beat you, trying to pin you, and you're going to forfeit, or are you tough enough to continue? And that was just the mindset I was always in. I remember doing the damn backflip off the top rope and landing on my broken ankle. I didn't know it was broke.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did you think it was broke, or you didn't?
No. I kept trying to walk. I kept thinking I'll be fine until I took my boot off after the match, and then it swelled up, and then all the pain really hit. Oh, and I lucked out. This was in Orlando, Florida, and there was a fucking foot doctor sitting in the crowd that was watching that said, "Hey, let me take you to my office a few blocks from here, and I can take care of you." And x-rayed it, ended up putting me in a cast and everything.
Wow. Yeah. It's that classic. It's always like in the classic Looney Tunes. Is there a doctor in the house? And this doctor, I'm a doctor.
Exactly.
That's it. Exactly like that.
Probably didn't even charge me. I don't remember that part, but I really doubt it. If he did, Paul would have paid it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So Matty, one of our One True Sport members and a big RVD fan, he's always good with the jokes here. This is a good one. Hold on, I make sure I have the right one though. Okay, here it is.
Good doobie too.
What's Peter Pan's favorite place to eat out? Wendy's.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Nice. That is.
There's another good one he had. I thought I started too. Dang it, Matty. You've been hammering out the jokes. I'm losing them. Dang it. I'll have to try to find that later on. But that's a good one. Rob, you mentioned being in Hawaii, and you also had a story about, unfortunately, somebody who just passed away recently, Kevin Sullivan. What a mind for the business, holy smokes. And, really sad situation. But, man, the impact he left on wrestling, it's just, it'll continue on forever because of all the neat stuff that he was able to do and come up with creative ways to convey villains and baby faces and all that stuff.
Yeah, and he really had a mind for the business, which a lot of wrestlers don't necessarily. Some of the wrestlers are just talent, and that's all they want, and that's fine. But some of the other minds are in like booking and office skills, things like that. I was trying to think if there was a story I hadn't told about Kevin, because I've known him for 23 years, so that's a long time, and I'd imagine that this would be a time to where fans could probably see how the business is like a family, because you pick out two random dudes, RVD, Kevin Sullivan, and it's like over the last 23 years, I can't imagine how many times I've seen the guy. Even though we haven't been together on TV that I could think of, we haven't been booked in that way where you would think of us together, and different generations. That's how the business is. It's spread out, but then when you're in it for so long, you really are connected in a lot of ways, and you get to relate to, just like a family member, relate to each other. And I've told the story several times. I wrestled Kevin in Jamaica. I was there for my 21st birthday, coincidentally, on a wrestling tour. 2 matches. One was Kevin Sullivan and one was Mark Starr. Fuck Mark Starr. Hey, don't talk about the dead that way. There's another, we'll get to that. There's another thing I hear all the time, that like is not consistent with RVDology. Let me just say that. And I don't expect everyone to agree, but I'm always telling people, I have these values. And honestly, sometimes it makes me feel kind of pompous, and so I'm glad to get feedback that people appreciate it, because sometimes I feel like, who am I to, but I'm just sharing my beliefs and hoping it'll help people. I was doing an interview yesterday on, and I'll tell you guys about it before it airs, total different channel than I normally would, but I was trying to explain how I have these, I'm going all over the place right now. Hold on. Let me think about Kevin and where I was before I go somewhere and I can't find my way back.
I'll get you back on. Okay.
So anyway, wrestled him in Jamaica. All right. Here's what I was going to say. You never hit a woman, no matter what. Really? I said that on the show yesterday, and the girls, it was like a sex channel kind of interview thing. She's like, so you think it's okay to hit women? And I'm like, I'm just saying there are no absolutes. Hypothetically, if she is stabbing me in the stomach with a knife repeatedly over and over, and she said, you can hit her. I said, okay, I'm just saying. And likewise, a lot of people say, you don't talk about the dead in a disrespectful manner. Why? If someone was an asshole, when they die, all of a sudden they're a hero? I don't get behind that logic. You want to say they're not here to defend themselves, I'll agree with that. If you're not looking to bring up a challenge that can be defended, and in fact, you're just stating a fact that happened, why should you be prohibited just because that's something you were taught when you were younger, before you reprogrammed yourself as an adult? So anyway, fuck Mark Starr. And Kevin Sullivan was a backstage office in a PCW in LA recently when I was there, when I lived there and was wrestling for PCW. And that was really cool. I'd see him every show. And he wasn't even part of the show. He was backstage. And I don't know what you would call that, if he was an agent or house dad. I don't know. But it was always cool to see him. What a life he had. And yeah, it's, I'm sorry to see him go. I remember last time I see him at cons all the time, and last time I saw him seems like it was only like 3 or 4 months ago somewhere. And I remember I didn't realize he was sick. I realized he's looking a little different, but I was like, hey man, cool, how you been? He looked like he could unload on answering that question and trauma dump, if I really wanted to know. He kind of seemed like, you don't know, motherfucker, I'm dying, and I was just like, oh, good to see you. It was like a kind of like a really short thing where I had an idea something was going on. And of course, Andrew Anderson, if you don't know that guy, he's one of the most over non-stars that I know of, just because all the boys know him, and he's always been around. He's at all the cons. Him and Kevin Sullivan were so tight. They were always together. He's always with Greg Valentine. Those guys are really tight. And he's, he's a indie wrestler, and I don't know his whole resume, but Andrew Anderson was really close with him, and he messaged me and said, hey man, send Kevin some thoughts, please. He's not doing good or whatever. And, I did. And then, like a couple days later, maybe 2 days later, I got the news that he had passed. So, we all have our path, and we're out, it's never really seems like a good time unless you're suicidal. But otherwise, it's usually a shame in this life to lose people, especially people we care about, because it's just so fucking definite as far as we know. And, they don't come back. If you live another 40, 50, 60 years, they're not coming back. So, what can you say? Condolences. And, let's hope it's a while before we get news like that again.
Yeah, yeah. And like, you see the feedback social media had, a lot of the talent, whether they were like colleagues or modern wrestlers today or anything like that. He influenced so many different people. You look at like even what I keep mentioning this on shows, is like what the Wyatt Six or Bray Wyatt, if somebody like that, if Kevin Sullivan never did any of that satanic panic stuff where he was like devil and all that stuff, would any of that have come to fruition or anything like that? It's just like he put his fingerprints all over the place, that indirectly and some directly too. You always hear the story about him holding Hulk Hogan hostage for the heel turn that he was going to do at Bash at the Beach and stuff like that. That was his job and stuff. It's just like pretty neat that he was all over the place, and like just a dude that was so smart to the business, but he's also could work in the ring, and like he was a stockier dude, shorter dude, but stockier, and he could go up against somebody like Hulk Hogan and make it believable.
Memory that just opened up in my brain, I hadn't thought of in a long time. We're in Jamaica and we're on the beach, and Kevin was excited, telling me $2 lobsters. You give these guys $2 and they go out there, they walk out there in the water and they catch one in their net and bring it to you. But I'm not into seafood, so I wasn't that excited about it. But it was just a memory that hit me, and all the other guys were excited. Same thing with weed, not Kevin necessarily, but a lot of the other guys were so excited there was so much weed, and it wasn't anything I was interested in at that time either. Seafood and weed.
Seafood and weed. I know, that's funny. Nash was just telling a story on his podcast too, saying that Kevin Sullivan would be hanging out with a buddy and his son, Kevin Nash's late son, Tristan, and like he remembers Kevin being like, "Hey, you guys want some lobster or anything like that?" And then he would go snorkeling under and literally like pull up a lobster out of the water, like right there.
Really? Very right? Similar story. Which, by the way, I've been having an incredible synchronistic day, so I'm going to be watching that. Things have been happening today since I woke up. As a matter of fact, I woke up and I felt the damn pool guy. Like I woke up and I was like, "Damn, I got the gate locked. I need to unlock that because the pool guy's going to be here." And then I was like, and then I thought, man, let me see if I can just sleep a few more minutes and I'll just unlock it first thing when I get up. I put my head on the pillow and ding dong, it was the pool guy at the gate. And I was like, fuck, I knew it. I just fucking felt him. And the day has been pretty consistent like that since. So, hopefully some stuff will keep happening here. But also I felt disconnected almost as much. So it's been really weird because I've also had like clumsy moments where I'm dropping stuff and grabbing it and cutting my fingers. And I feel like I'm disconnected. And as I mentioned before, and now it's very aware to me since my sister pointed it out, when stuff like that happens, I take it personally from the universe. And so that's when I say, God damn it. I don't think I use that word any other time, but when I feel like I'm disconnected, like the universe turned its back on me, that's like habitually, instinctively almost, that's what comes out of my mouth, because I know when I'm connected, boom, I get reassurance all day. It's synchronicities, everything's working out, and that's how I expect things to go. But there's always a reason that we knock ourselves off track, and I've been on it and off throughout the day.
Oh, it's been a busy day, both in those regards, both positively and negatively. That reminded me, I'm going to Vegas obviously for this weekend and for Cauliflower Alley. My goal is to bring the Celestian Prophecy with me, and I'm going to read it while on the trip. So that's all the gameplay today.
Good luck. Well, I'll tell you, man, if you want, go ahead and skip the first chapter. It's hard. The first chapter loses a lot of people, and it almost lost me because it's just setting everything up, and it has characters doing things too early because you're not invested in them. Why do you care that this is happening? Mm-hmm. But as I remember, it's been a long time since I've read it, but basically it's a dude just setting up for all these amazing synchronicities that are about to happen. Like he's supposed to take one flight and he gets bumped and ends up on another, and then there's a person on there that something like that. And so he ends up going somewhere different. He wasn't even planning on going, and uncovers the secrets of the fucking universe. The manuscript towards spiritual ascension is what he finds. And it's one by one. So you learn the steps as it goes. I got to find the ninth insight, and it's all secret society, hidden stuff that they don't want you to find. So, if you can get past the beginning, then I think hopefully you'll find it compelling.
I'll treat it like Breaking Bad because I watched like the first 6 episodes of Breaking Bad and it was really, really slow, but then it picked up and it got awesome. So I'll just treat it like that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm excited.
Yeah, be like that.
Yeah. I found the joke that Maddie said. This really popped me. Why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll? Because Ken came in a different box.
I think I've heard that before.
Have you? I never heard that one. That's a pretty good one. Thanks, Maddie. I'm
looking at this question real quick about have either of us seen the Secrets of Hell's Angels docuseries?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to answer that real quick. It's easy for me because so I can't talk about it because I haven't seen it. The whole biker genre is interesting to me, but I really don't know that much about it. It's something that I consider sometimes diving into, and sometimes the stories do cross-reference with mafia, and they work together sometimes, and then I'll learn a little bit about it. Besides that, Chuck Zito, who is the president of the Hells Angels, Rochelle, New York chapter, he's a friend, but all the wrestlers, he's a great guy. All of us know him. I just went like that because I haven't talked to him in a while, so I feel like I'm name dropping. But basically, I don't really know that much more that I can even think of adding to a conversation. I don't know that much about it. I like the Brian Bosworth movie that he did. I think it was called Stone Cold, if I remember right.
Really?
It was like forever ago.
Oh.
Yeah, forever ago.
Well, did you see the interview that Mike Franzese, is that his name?
Mike Francis. Michael Francis. Yeah,
Michael Francis?
The way he pronounces it is Francis. A lot of other people. Yeah.
Well, he did an interview with one of the Hell's Angels people. Like, he was one of the head guys. It wasn't Chuck Zito. But
no, I didn't click on it, but I did see that thumbnail.
That's really interesting. It's like 2 parts, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I watched both of them, and it was great. It was like, and you can definitely see the ties. And they kind of talk about the ties with the mafia and
that does sound interesting.
Yeah, lifestyle kind of thing.
By the way, not to get too sidetracked, but something else Michael Francis did recently that I don't know of like anyone else even thinking of doing this, but he interviewed the son of Sam.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Holy shit. Is that up?
Samuel Berkowitz or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm mispronouncing that, but it sounds just like that, but I got a couple letters wrong.
Damn.
Berkowitz. Anyway, yeah, it's on his YouTube channel, Michael Francis. But I thought like that, like who's going after this guy? Who's calling his press agent, and trying to get him. So I also didn't watch that. A lot of stuff like that I think I'll watch later because the videos are too long and I'm looking for something that's 4 minutes or under, and I think I'll watch it later, and so and I haven't yet.
Yeah. See, Rob, I'm the opposite usually. If it's like a short video, I'm like, I want to put some headphones in and do work while I'm like listening to something.
Yeah,
and
well,
so
that's
I usually goes longer route stuff.
That's how I am in the gym, but when I wake up and my mind is just starting to warm up, I need to stimulate it, and I like to move on and not have a 20-minute build up before the fucking guy gets pulled over. Watching a cop video, he's got 20 minutes of him driving down the road.
Yeah.
And finally, the lights go on. I'm going zoop, right to the end. And by the way, people do that on my YouTube channel. I got these put an hour into doing an RVDology episode. It's like, average listen was 2 minutes. That's cool.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck?
All five people that said thumbs up must have liked the 2 minutes they listened to.
You must have really enjoyed that. Want to give some shout outs to some people. Ashley BM says, hey again, RVD and job. Thanks for joining us, Ashley. We also have Becky in here. She says, Rob, in the world, you always find good people, bad people. I truly believe you are a good person. Thank you so much for doing this. So Thank you, Ben.
Awesome.
That's very nice of you to say.
Well, I appreciate you and
Yeah.
your opinion.
Yeah.
Your
We do have a super
ring
chat here.
opinion.
Big Rocka, thanks for the $10. More life, Rob. Always wondered why you were bumped off WrestleMania 19 in 2003. You were so over, and it never made sense to me. Were there any hard feelings over being bumped? RVDology disciple.
Nice. Appreciate that, Big Roka. The way I remember it, Kane and I think I remember it wrong because I think I talked to Rene Dupree, one of the guys I talked to, and they said, no. But I thought it was me and Kane against the French dude, Rene Dupree's and his, I can't remember what the tag team.
Sylvain Grenier? Is that his name?
Either him or there was someone even before him, right? Like,
Rob Conway?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Renee said that that's not true. But so, one of us might remember the matchup wrong. But the way I remember it, we had the match to be on Mania, and then day of got told by JR, you guys are going to be not on WrestleMania. You're still going to have your match out there. Don't worry. It's going to be the same. You're going to get paid just like you were at WrestleMania, but we're going to show the match on Heat. That's because they needed to have enough time for the whole show. And I personally took offense with it because they had a segment with the Miller Lite girls. And when I was in that competitive spirit, I'm comparing myself to them and thinking like the Miller Lite girls coming in here and wrestling in a keg of beer. I don't even know what they did. A tub of ice. I don't know. Whatever they did, I felt like that's more important than the tag team championship match, which I think we were champions. I'm not even sure about that. But either way, I think you get it. I felt slighted. I felt like they were personally insulting us because my value system didn't match theirs. Now, looking at the bigger picture, knowing we all have our own values, if I'm the guy trying to sell the most tickets, what sells more, tits and ass, or fucking couple dudes in wrestling gear, wrestling a couple other dudes, when I already have 10 other matches that are a couple dudes in wrestling gear matching a couple other dudes? What's more special that's going to stand out about this show? What would really hit the culture and society more? This fucking Miller Lite commercials right now are hot. They're like the fucking most played commercials. They played the fucking Super Bowl. They're huge. We're going to fucking play off of that and get that little moment that maybe people remember forever. They're not going to remember this match from that match or whatever. And you know what? Let's fucking do that. Let's get some tits and ass. I can see it that way now. I didn't feel that way at the time. And we had the match, and I was upset. I think I left right after the match. I was never really too good at hiding my feelings. And then when I got paid for it, it was the shits. And I went to JR. And I was already insulted. You're going to, it was like pouring salt in the wound, as they say. Like you already fucking smacked me in the face and made me red. And now, hey, I thought she said we were going to get paid the same as if we were on WrestleMania. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? And you know what he said? You're right. I owe you another $5,000. I'll take care of it.
Ooh.
The fuck is that, right? Does that mean there was a mistake? Does it mean you see my point and you have the authority to find that money somewhere? Does that mean I should be coming to you every 2 weeks and telling you I think I should deserve more? I don't know. I didn't know what to make of that. I think that was one of 2 times that I remember that I went and said, hey, I think you owe me more money. And that's what stands out about being bumped off of WrestleMania 19.
So they did pay you though at the end of it, like you got good. Yeah, that's a little weird. That's a little weird. I'm looking at the WrestleMania 19 card right now too, Rob. I mean,
To add to that, but am I on there, me and Kane?
You are. You're on the. So you're on the opening thing.
Not against the. I want to call them the Rougeos. I can't
So
remember.
here, actually, it wasn't either of them. You were going up against Val Venus and Lance Storm. With the Dudley Boys. They were with the Dudley Boys for some reason, but they defeated you and Kane for the World Tag Team Championships in 7 minutes.
So is that the match that got put on Heat? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it must.
Miller Lite girls are there, right?
It doesn't. So I'm on the Wikipedia. It doesn't say anything about Miller Lite girls, but I'm sure
I'm
they were a
just
segment on there.
assuming, which I don't like this. I'm presuming with this information that we're talking about the same match because I don't remember getting bumped off of another WrestleMania, and I know that was early in my WWE career. So, and then my first Mania was 18. So, using all that info together, I'm guessing that we're probably talking about one and the same. By the way, as far as a footnote on that, I was always confused about the pay. Like how is it that we're supposed to advance in our career when we don't really have control over so many things that is directly related to our income? And I was always confused by that. I mean, I don't think too many people will argue that RVD was over, but there was a few times where they didn't have a RVD T-shirt in the building, and sometimes that could be really big money. Mm-hmm. Such big money that sometimes they use that as part of your deal. I made a return to WWE, and it's we're gonna start you. We'll go by what you were making when you left before. That's what they did. You're making this much a year. We do 90 days. That's a quarter of a year. Quarter of your downside is this. How about we go with that for a base? Obviously you work more, you make more, you sell more shit, you beat it. But that's you. Okay, cool. That sounds fair. Let's do that. So, boom, we go to Africa. They didn't bring the fucking RVD shirt at all. How am I going to make money off selling Rob Van Dam shirts? And it's it kind of gets me upset even thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah,
but there was times that happened. And I just remember being there and complaining to them, and is it an oversight or is that a strategy? Because, of course, you got to have 4 fucking HBK shirts, even though he's not even on the tour. Is that because you literally just sell more of those so it makes more sense, or you want to sell more of those because that's your agenda? I mean, how can that not be part of it? Because you are causing the end result by not bringing them, not selling them. Therefore, you're not bringing any money down that avenue. So, I just wanted to say, that's kind of always been weird for me being there. And when we brought ECW back on the WWE's platform, holy crap, did the pay go down? Oh my God, dude!
Seriously?
Look, listen to this. I'm going to be specific here. I'm going to detail this out for you so that you can understand. I got my guarantee for the whole year. That's why you don't sweat too bad, because they'll make up for it at the end if that's how the equation is. But bring ECW back. For the first several house shows that we're doing, they're running the same shitholes that ECW used to do. The TV would piggyback SmackDown, right? So it'd be SmackDown, and then afterwards ECW at the arenas. SmackDown would go on their channel, and ECW would be booked for Sci-Fi recorded. But the house shows, when ECW was on its own, they're doing the Ross Draver Ice Gardens. They're doing, literally. And
the shithole.
all of them. And not advertising them, except on the internet. Why not? That's how ECW drew. It was all the smart marks that were on the internet. So this is why I tell you I sound like, I was telling you before the show, when I listened to some of the shit, I sound like I'm screaming at it. I am screaming. Why am I screaming at you?
You're not.
I don't feel like I talk with pushing this much normally, but I guess maybe it's.
I think you're good.
All right, cool. So the first several house shows we did with the brand new ECW, Even when, I had when I was champion. Remember that short period? I'm wrestling Big Show, main event. Everyone knows he's got a multi 7-digit deal. If you divide that by the by the week, in order to reach at least 2 mil, that's just under like 40 grand a week, So in my mind, I'm thinking, and I can't remember if he had a 3 million guarantee. He had a really big deal, and I'm not saying I'm Big Show, but I'm the guy at these shows. I'm the fucking biggest and most over guy for sure at the ECW shows. As egotistical as that sounds, even if that wasn't a factor, main event 500.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
The same that I got paid my first house show match going in Atlanta against Johnny
Swinger?
No, the guy that broke his ass.
Oh, Stamboli. Johnny Stamboli.
Yeah, first house show when I came in 2001, I wrestled him and I got $500, and that was the other time that I went to JR and said, What? Like, I make way more than that before I come here. I came here to make less money, and that, and what I'm guessing was WrestleMania 19 were 2 times that I went to JR and said, this ain't right, is it? What the fuck? So there's some insight for you.
That's fucking crazy. So after you win the title, you're going on those ECW shit tours, and you're getting a $500 payday at that point.
Yeah, and so what he says to me is like, well, he says there's not enough money at the shows to pay everybody. And he says this. He says, as it is, I have to take from the SmackDown pool in order to pay you guys what I'm paying you. That's a half Jim Ross, because I don't want to go into the stroke face because that's mean, and I like him. He's a friend of mine. It just I can't help when I'm doing his voice. I can't help it naturally halfway imitate him. I don't mean anything bad. I don't mean yes. And then wait, what? You're taking from the SmackDown pool and you're paying the ECW guys? Guess what? That doesn't sound fair either.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound fair to the SmackDown guys, right? Yeah. So.
Listen, that's a bunch of horse shit. I will say that if they're putting you on shit tours and be like, oh, we'll create internet buzz because that's how ECW do it. Well, you're part of the WWE machine now. Like, put all the money behind there. Get some fucking merch out for these guys and put them in some bigger arenas.
I can't say this is fact, but I was told that they put a 10% advertisement budget on ECW compared to WWE. In other words, $5,000 worth of promotion versus $500, which is really get some posters printed up and pay some kids to put a few up in some windows and then throw the rest in the trash.
That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. Even at that point where it's like, okay, it's like late 2000s or whatever, and time to change, but it's like, dude, fucking, this is WWE. You got to do a little bit something more here for your talent.
But this is also, it's more evidence that weighs in on thoughts of, was it really brought back so you could bury it? Or was it brought here to succeed?
Like, yeah, the deck is kind of stacked against you guys when you're doing this little.
Well, not to mention, even on the damn TV shows that we did, you got SmackDown for the first couple hours, and then ECW afterwards. So not only is half the crowd going to leave, but besides that, we're heels for the first 3/4 of the show. We're heels. We run, to promote our show. They have the heels run in and fuck with the top baby face or whatever and get all the booze. And they expect everyone to stay to watch us say, here's what we want to show you, after they were just throwing tomatoes at us. That I didn't think that was a good idea personally.
Well, A. Jobson adds to your point. He says you wrestled in front of 100 people at the Pima City Fairgrounds during your WECW run. I was there.
They definitely borrowed from the SmackDown pool to pay me.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Good times.
How about it? Holy
Yeah.
smokes. Yeah, I always think about it too. Like when Taz debuted for WWE, it was extremely exciting as a fan because Kurt Angle was undefeated at the time. He goes out Royal Rumble 2000 and his music hits. The crowd goes absolutely insane at Madison Square Garden for him. And like, I remember somebody telling Taz or somebody afterwards that, well, he's fucked because it wasn't Vince that got him that pop. It was Taz, and like you kind of think about it like, well, Vince always had that. Like if it wasn't his creation or if he didn't put a hat on a hat, like maybe the whole momentum wouldn't be behind you, so to speak. So
yeah, no, that's. I mean, if anyone listening somehow doesn't know, that's always been a belief, was that if Vince creates you or WWE created you as a star, then they're going to get way behind you, stay behind you. Whereas if you created yourself and came in, you're looking at your run just being a run and you're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait, that sounded good. What'd I say? They got you back. I don't know. Run and you're done versus you stay and play. I don't know. I said something.
I'll go back and clip it up and make it
make me sound cool, man.
I'll make you sound awesome, Rob.
That's but also when those guys do leave, then they can't keep their names. Take them with them. I saw or heard word recently that maybe that's changing. I don't have any reason to believe that's true. I got no evidence of that. But that's why a lot of people, when they sign their WWE contracts, they're signing away their rights to that intellectual property. And someone like RVD, I was already RVD, so they couldn't really take that. They could share it with me for the term of the contract, which continues now as far as having the rights to make merchandise and licensing deals. So,
how concerned were you when the second time you came to WWE, when the invasion happened? Were you at all concerned them changing your name, or you're like, I'm already RVD, I was already showed up in WWE as RVD?
Well, I thought for sure. What's funny, I don't even think it went through my mind that I was already there, and so they would see me as established. I don't remember ever even feeling like they would have acknowledged that, just based on my own inner fears or doubts or just the way that I understood them to do business. I thought for sure when I came in 2001 and actually signed a 3-year contract with them, I thought for sure that I was going to be erasing my past, and I wasn't looking forward to that. So I wasn't happy about that at all. I had a lot of mixed emotions when it came to how I felt about doing business there. And so when I found out I was part of the invasion, I was representing ECW, it really meant a lot to me. I'm adding depth to all the years that I put in so far, not erasing it. Big difference.
Big difference. Big time difference. We have another somebody's experience. I was at a show in Hammond, Indiana. One of the only people with an RVD 420 sign. Right when you came out, you saw my sign. I wonder if that was during the ECW era. Hammond, Indiana. I wonder if that could have been like an indie show, I guess, maybe. Could have been,
or WWE even. I don't know how many times I've been to Hammond, but I'm familiar with it. I don't know. I don't remember. Oh, yeah. I remember seeing your sign.
Hey, there we go. Now I got it.
You.
Hey, I remember that. Let me see what else I wanted to talk about.
I think Hammond, Indiana is also, if I'm not mistaken, where Al Capone allegedly killed 2 of his guys that were planning to overthrow him. That story's like retold so many times. Whenever they do a movie on him or whatever, they have like a different version of it. And also, supposedly, Tony Accardo got the name Tony Batters from doing the same thing, quite possibly the same event. Whether it really happened or not, I don't know. It was by George and Selmy. who's the other guy? Just two guys that really are just known for that. They were supposedly talking about setting Al up, and he has it. You probably anyone that's seen a movie like The Untouchables, I think has it in it. Al Capone, where they're all sitting around a dinner table, all the mobsters, and Al's walking around giving a speech, and he ends up like whacking a guy in the back of the head, while he's one of his own guys while he's sitting there, and that's a story that allegedly happened in Hammond, Indiana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where I grew up was Ridgeway, Pennsylvania. There was a town 6 miles away from us called Johnsonburg. And apparently they called that Little Chicago, and that's where Al Capone would stay at. He would stay at a hotel while he was there. For whatever reason he was in Johnsonburg, I have no idea.
They got around, man. They got around. And his house was in Florida and Miami. It's amazing how much traveling those guys did way back in the day when traveling was such a pain in the ass and took forever. You know?
Yeah.
Vegas, New York, fucking Cuba. And a lot of the guys were international, like in the 60s and 70s. Sam Giancana and a lot of those guys, they're setting up casinos in like, what was the Bahamas, but then it was like in the Far East. And like, I can't imagine even how you could keep an eye on your money when it's way over there, unless you have so much manpower. But then again, how do you trust them? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Jeez.
It's always fascinating me. Like, I don't know how they do that. They think because one guy owns so many businesses and stuff, and when it's worldwide and it's all over, and you got, you're talking to people in other countries, Chile. I don't know how. I can't imagine. I couldn't even keep eyes on a business in front of me.
Right? No, it's the tough thing about it. It is kind of remarkable to think that way too. Seth. Hey, Rob put you over here earlier. If you're just tuning in, he put you over big time. Thanks for the $20. RVD, ever read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy book? Seems like something you'd enjoy. Lance Storm turned me on to it on his blog back in the days. It's like super deep philosophy disguised as a sci-fi comedy. Easy read. Have you ever read those, Rob?
No, I have heard of them. Always, they've always been something that comes up a lot, but I haven't read them. And another one that sounds like that too is like something about a motorcycle. Seth probably knows, but something about I don't know. It's a motorcycler's guide to the guy. There's something that I think is the same kind of thing, philosophy, and the title makes it sound like it's something completely different, just like a hitchhiker's guide kind of sounds different. But
yeah,
if anybody knows what I'm talking about, put it in the chat room.
Is that the Motorcycle Diaries or whatever that was called?
No, that doesn't sound right.
Or is that a movie? I can't remember.
I thought the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy might have been a movie, but it was a movie?
They turned it into a movie.
I might have seen that. I think maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have to go over the plot for me to know.
By the way, I saw Deadpool and Wolverine. It was a lot of fun. It was a blast.
Cool.
Yeah.
I plan on trying to catch that at some point.
Very funny. Oh my God, a lot of gratuitous violence. It was you got your money's worth. Let me just say that when you go there.
Yeah, I'm sure they know how to do it. Every time I see a Marvel movie, especially the Avengers, something really big, it just blows my mind. Like you're like, what else? What could make that movie better? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe some more tits and ass. Usually, tits and ass makes things better, but that's probably subjective.
Well, I want to bring up this one. This is really funny. I hope I can find it here soon. Oh, shoot. Baccarat had a funny quote. I want to find it. Dang it. Oh, here it is. This was in reference to your Miller Lite Girls comment about, what's more appealing, seeing girls, doing that or whatever. And Baccarat said, I usually would bang my chick or rub one out before the show starts, so I didn't care about the tits and ass. So we just wanted to hear RVD's music. So there we go. There's a tape.
I really hated, and I still am not a fan of celebrities coming in. I get it, but it still kind of hurts my heart a little bit when I have celebrities come in to a wrestling match. Katie's all excited that Jelly Roll came in and did a choke slam or something, and I'm like, she knows I hate that kind of stuff, but well, I mean, you know why? It fucking
Yeah, it takes away from it. Like we talked
it
about this before.
discredits everything we do, makes it look like anybody could do it. And on top of that, there's always, it's hard when you're in that state of mind to not feel like, how much more is that motherfucker coming in, getting paid to come in for his 3 seconds in the business when I'm here busting my ass every week and fucking making $500? So there's always that too. But I've just always hated it when Jeremy Piven comes in and does a crossbody, because I mean that's inconsistent with the way I got trained. What did we do? Me and Sabu back in ECW had a situation where ICP was coming in. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And they were actually our friends. But we, they were still marks to us. Kind of. I mean, Joe was even in the business. But I know that I popped him because I heard about it. I heard he wrote it in his book that I popped his eardrum with a kick, which, I'm not saying that was any harder than a kick I would have done to any of the boys, but we didn't take it easy on them because they're outsiders or treat them like celebrities or whatever. And so basically what I'm saying is, if Jeremy Piven can handle the Van Daminator, then he might win me over. But no, you know what I mean. Like what we do is not easy for anybody. It takes a long, long time to learn the craft, and I think that it sells it short when they have someone come in and they're able to pull off something. Who would win a fight?
Right.
Jeremy Piven or the guy you did a crossbody to? My money's on the other guy. and you could say, well, in wrestling, it's a lot of times like that, but not necessarily. You don't really know a lot of times, and that's something you assume, but a lot of times it surprises you that the smaller guy is way tougher than the bigger guy a lot of times. If it came to outside of the ring, street fight, which is basically your goal is end this however you have to as soon as possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Total different game, and you can get some information watching them wrestle, but not as much as you would imagine.
Well, so we talked about this before on like.
I'm sure any wrestler would kick Jeremy Piven's ass.
That's it. And he called SummerSlam Summerfest in his promo too that night. He called it Summerfest.
Motherfucker. You don't even care about the business.
Don't even care, Jeremy. Yeah, we talked about this, I think, on a second episode because we were talking about Bad Bunny, but then we also mentioned, like, I asked you, I think, well, what about when somebody like a legit athlete comes into play, like somebody like a Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali, and that's a little bit more makes sense, But when you have a celebrity coming in there, and sure, you want to get eyes on the product, you want to get your highlight reel or whatever, and like that creates buzz or what have you.
But Muhammad Ali came in to box. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
exactly.
like, if a basketball player is coming in to play basketball, okay.
Yeah, but
he's coming in to wrestle, it's a little better that he's an athlete instead of an actor. It's a lot better. In fact, what's a really big? Is that Magic Johnson, the one that wrestled?
Shaq? Are you thinking Shaq?
Yeah, Shaq. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I really liked that match when I saw him.
Yeah.
And him and the girl.
It was him and Jade Cargill.
I thought that was really entertaining, and I thought, wow, he really did good. But obviously, they worked on that. Cool though. And he's got some experience doing everything. That's a little better. But at the same time, I got to give the advantage to the wrestler on the credibility side when it comes to wrestling.
What's a great story is Jake Roberts. They had a program, I believe it was in Mid-South, where Muhammad Ali got brought in, and like he was supposed to take a punch from Muhammad Ali, and somebody with him, I think it was Jim.
Who is this?
Jake Roberts, Jake the Snake.
Girl.
So I think it was like Jim Nord. I could be way off on that one, but he got punched by Muhammad Ali and like sold it like a motherfucker. Well, Jake gets punched by Muhammad Ali, sells it, but doesn't go off his feet. Like, still doesn't sell it to him. Like, and that's Muhammad Ali. So it's like, you want to add that, believability to your character and protect a certain amount of it. So I completely.
And then Muhammad Ali was like, "Oh, wait till you get this next one."
Right. So, Seth says, "Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Repair" is the name.
Thank you. I knew he would know. No.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you nailed it.
I think I even have that one, but I haven't read it.
It sounds neat.
I think I own it.
Sounds neat, but I like the title.
Yeah.
Instagram, a wrestling historian. Thanks for the Canadian $2. Were you Willie the Worker? If not, who was it? Willie the Worker, Rob. I don't even know that.
Yeah, I never heard of him, so I don't know, but it'd be a solid no. But also, I don't know for the second part. I don't know where Willie the Worker is known from.
Yeah, Willie the Worker.
Explain that. I've always called Bill Apter Wonderful Willie.
Did you?
Yeah, I still do.
I wonder is he going to be in Vegas this weekend? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't expect him to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he usually just stays in the Northeast, I think, anyways.
Doggies want to say hi.
Oh, Lovey. Oh. She's the best.
And here's Barbie.
Barbie's hanging out. Hello, Barbie.
They both came up to say hi.
Say hello, Barbie.
Oh, love you, baby.
Look at those two. Yeah.
Hey, easy.
Lovey's freaking out a little bit. Maddie, thanks for the Australian $5. I feel free now that I'm not being used by my former mate. He still lives here because he has nowhere to go. He's lucky for RVDology, or I'd pick a hand. Oh, that's what we were going to talk about this week was friends that have turned on, turned on you, like that, long-term friends or anything like that have.
Right, but let's break this one down. I feel free now. I'm not being used. Oh, is it the same guy, right?
Same guy. Maddie brought that up last week.
So he's bringing it up again, which, by the way, appreciate that, Maddie, but I haven't forgot you. I know I was going to get to that before we close, but he's not being used anymore by a former mate. He still lives here because he has nowhere to go. He's lucky for okay, I got you. So he's so Maddie is pleased that he didn't choose violence, and that's good. I'm glad that I could and yeah, we'll talk about that too. Like you want to we usually end with a little or do we got anything else?
Well, we can do a couple more questions and stuff like that, but then we can close it out, with that.
Okay.
Let's see. I want to make sure.
Right back, Maddie. We can talk about that.
Yeah, we'll circle back around to that, Maddie.
And congrats. You feel better. Look, I'll say that right now. Yeah. And then we'll talk when I don't want to ignore anybody that's waiting.
Yes.
Or I could just talk about it. You can still bring them in, but no, because they might be talking about something different, right?
Yeah, I'm not. So I think we covered all the super chats. I did want to get your thoughts on. This was it. So, so we mentioned this earlier. Kind of little synchronicity here. 20 years ago to the day, Rob, was SummerSlam 2004, and this happened to be another card that you ended up not being on, but you were on a Sunday Night Heat match with Rene Dupree. That was your match that you had 20 years ago.
So you see why I get those two confused.
Yes.
That's the synchronicity, bro.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
That is crazy.
Yeah, the thing about synchronicity is you got to recognize it, and that's how you develop your relationship. The way that I developed it with the universe, with Celestine Prophecy, we'll tell you about. But if you just let that blow over, like, no big deal, that's really the opposite of what you should be doing if you want it to happen more. It's more about engaging that moment and saying, whoa. And if you get a little goosebumps, then that's cool. That's part of it.
How about that then, Rob? So that's what you were thinking about when you were thinking about WrestleMania, was that match. Wow.
And you were going to bring it up anyway.
I was going to bring it up because it was 20 years ago to the day that happened.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah.
Fucking
so
nuts.
I remember being bumped off WrestleMania and thrown on heat in a match with Rene Dupree, but that actually happened a different time, which we were going to talk about anyway, in case you aren't having a problem following this. What we're teased about. But okay, so it was Val Venus and who?
Oh my gosh, who was it? Hold on, I gotta go back real quick. Val Venus
Kurt Angle?
and
No.
no, not Kurt Angle. It was Val Venus and Lance Storm.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Okay.
Lance Storm.
And 20 years ago today, it was SummerSlam instead of Mania.
Yeah, and Rene Dupree.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Well,
so crazy.
I'm not 100% sure which time was the one where I went to JR and he said you're at it. No, I think it was Mania. I had because I was like, but I could have been SummerSlam. I could have been like, I thought you said, don't worry, we were gonna get paid the same as if we were on SummerSlam. Yeah. It could have worked that way, but either way, same situation, and you can bet I felt the same way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking at the card here. Yeah,
I felt that way. The whole time I was there was always reasons for your ego to feel insulted, and I wonder if there's anyone there that's exempt from that. You know what I mean? Because even the ones that are really pushed hard, well, I don't know. Probably even then, they probably feel slighted sometimes. I think they probably find a way to make everyone feel like that sometimes. But I used to feel like, you know, hey, I'm getting a lot of cheers. Nobody notices. Like, how come I'm not on the truck? How come there's not a poster of me at the airport coming into New Orleans and it's everyone else? And how come I'm not the one that's on the morning shows, that's promoting the show? And I always felt, like I was more of like, not somebody's favorite foot to put forward.
Well, I think like some wrestlers, you think about that and they think that, but like you're somebody that would have a valid fucking case for all this shit, because it's like you think about immediately when you got put into WWE and the invasion angle, how over you were then, and you were one of the hottest acts in all of wrestling, and so like for them not to make the most out of you and certain aspects of it all, it's just like kind of fucked up. Oh, you're listening and you're not watching. He's squishing Katie. Is that Katie behind you there, or is that Dee? Hey, what's up, Katie? So, yeah, but you have a valid case, I think, every time, because it's like you're a fucking Hall of Famer and all that stuff. So,
and that's why, like, circumstances, even before I had gone through a lot of spiritual growth to really own the values that I do now. Even back then, the circumstances wouldn't allow my ego to get too big to where I feel like I'm unfireable, like a lot of the guys seem like nowadays, I got fired. Can you believe that? Like me, because they fill your head up with all these plans, of things they're going to do with you, and then you believe it, and then they fire you, and then you're surprised. But, after that happens so many times, you tend to, or at least I believe it when I see it, and the whole time I was there, they never gave me any reason to believe that they couldn't do without me, ever.
Right. Yeah, it's wild to think, though. It is. Maddie did chime in. We talked about this before, RVD versus Cena. I don't know if you saw this, Rob, but Cena said that he's going to do 36 dates with WWE, so for his retirement tour. So, hey, it'd be nice to see you on one of those.
Yes, it would, and I am familiar with it. I have been asked about it a few times, I didn't know it was 36 dates. I did know that he was doing a retirement tour. It'd be awesome if he happened to stop in Philadelphia during that time. If not, then I have no reason to think that they would be interested in something like that. I certainly would, and I said it somewhere because I've seen it reposted several times, that RVD says he'd love a match with Cena or something to that extent. That'd be awesome. Of course I would. And, we'd crush it. I feel phenomenal. AJ didn't make that up. But I don't, they got my number. Let me put it that way. I don't, as I was just discussing, I never had a reason to believe that or to know how highly they thought of me if they did, or at least if there was a lot of reasons for me to believe that they thought highly of me. There was also a lot of contradicting things that would happen to bring my ego down, and also my beliefs that, hey, maybe they don't give a shit about me, or they just think I'm here to enhance other people. I don't know. But because of all of those, I have no idea or no reason to think they'd be too excited about what a lot of fans would be excited about in this case. But I'd definitely be down for it. And physically, I'm definitely down. Physically, mentally, spiritually, it'd be awesome.
Dude, and like you said too, you guys could do that. You said you could do that match that you did at One Night Stand with him. Still.
Could do a double retirement match. I don't give a fuck.
Hell yeah, fucking.
That's probably why I'm not there, because I don't care enough.
Maddie says, just wanted to say, Rob wasn't pushed ever, but Rob RVD is the most over.
Maddie's hanging with us. I appreciate it, dude.
Yes. Greg Jacobson, he said,
that is a story. By the way, that is, I mean, not that I wasn't pushed, but I do feel a lot of times that my platform that I reached of fan appreciation, I feel like a lot of that was done in spite of the agenda.
Absolutely. Even looking, and no offense to I was looking at the WrestleMania 19 card, and no offense to Big Show or A-Train, but those are the two guys who fought The Undertaker that night at WrestleMania. He had a handicap match. I would have much rather seen RVD versus Undertaker, and I think a lot of people could say that.
That's how I felt a lot of times being in that equation. It would be like, this guy, because somebody decided, yeah, we're going to push him for a few weeks and see if he gets over. If it doesn't get over, then screw it. We'll just throw it out. But I would never forget that, like, you see what you had me do in front of people out there. I felt like that a lot of times.
Yeah.
But, I know I'm a good seller, but fucking, I do more than just get my ass kicked.
Right. You kick ass.
Yeah.
Greg Jacobson says, hey, RVD, any funny Blue Meanie stories? Thanks. Blue Meanie is joining One True Sport Network, too, by the way. His show, I believe, is going to go live tomorrow, so tune in to One True Sport TV and check out Mind of Meanie. Yeah, any good Meanie stories there,
Rob? Unfortunately, I can't think of any Meanie stories, great dude. I haven't been around him a whole lot, and now I see him at conventions and stuff, and I see a lot of the guys that are from ECW. Now I see them as more of a with a linear vision, horizontally, whereas mostly if I knew them from the dressing room, my ego told me back then, that I was above them. And also, that is how you treat people that are, they've been doing it longer than you or moreover or whatever. You know what I mean? You do kind of carry their bags or work your way up to get in. But that kind of mentality makes me think of how different it is now. Because like when I would see like him or Stevie or, the whole BWO, like you mean Sabu, of course, weren't behind the gimmick of putting other companies over and making fun of them, but it was the fans loved them and they were over, and now I get it more than I did then. But I feel like back then there was more of a looking not looking down in a disrespectful way, but more of a feeling of like I'm above you. Hey, I should get the first class seat if there's only one, not you. Get up. Like you get used to that, and now it seems ridiculous to me because now, like when I see Meanie, it's just like, oh, hey, he's just a dude that had a job, just like me. He's a guy that does what I do for a living, and I see it more that way, which is like not the way to see it if you live in a dressing room.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any stories that I could think of to share with them. You know, I can't say he had a friend who runs the Exotica shows and did the first 420 show in New Jersey. And I think maybe there was a follow-up or two or whatever, but that came through Meanie for anybody that saw me or Katie. We did some appearances there, and it was Meanie that reached out and said, hey, I got this friend that wants your info to, which a lot of times that's how booking happens. You know, they want to book you, whatever. Sure, give them my email, whatever. And boom, 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 met the other guy. And that's how we got hooked up with doing the Exoticas. Or is it erotica? I always fuck the name. I think it's erotica. No, it's Exotica.
Yeah, I think you said that before. It's Exotica. Probably because it
has. Shut up! I had it right the first time. Damn
it.
Yeah. It's not a very funny story or even a really good story, but good dude. Everyone knows the story about him and Bradshaw and the ECW. I don't have anything to add to that, you know, but of course I was on his side when I found out what was going on. But I didn't really know all the facts. I just knew my heart was with ECW.
Yeah. Hey, I'm an ECW guy, and yeah, I know him and Bradshaw have since made up a long time ago and all that.
Yeah, everybody does. We all grow, and that's part of like what I'm saying. You know, like I think of
whoa, timber.
I think of that like when I see Stevie now, like a lot of times. Well, first off, I think of when I broke his face, you know, because it's, you know, again, something I'm not proud of, so that sticks out in my mind, you know, right off the bat. But also I think of that, you know, like how that relationship was in the dressing room, and how that whole mentality that seems more like almost like fraternity to me. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's weird. Like obviously when I was young, I would have been happy to, and I still am. You know, I carried someone's bags. I think it was B. Brian Blair. You know, I grew up watching him like recently, like last year. I saw him at the airport. Just happened to be in Charlotte, you know, at the same time, and his bag was hurting him. And I was like, dude, can I get your bag for you? And I was just like, I still feel like a young guy around that whole generation. I do. I still feel like a kid because I feel like, you know, if they said, hey, do a backflip or take a bump, I'd be able to do it. So, I mean, I don't know, you know, how to feel like old yet. But anyway, it seems like back in the ECW days that me and Sabu's egos were up there. And that happens when it has to have, you got to believe in yourself in order to do that. But it's a strange thing to try to explain through a stoic philosophical perspective.
Yeah. Well, it's true too. And you mentioned like you kind of have to have a bit of an ego to like survive in the business at that point, and to get to the level you do, you have to.
You have to.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about that.
I did get business.
I did get blackout drunk with Meanie at his bar in Philadelphia.
He has a bar?
Well, it's not. It's a bar he frequents. It's McCusker's, and then they had Meanie Mania there during Mania weekend, and so it was a really big turnout and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's where he got married there too. Al Snow married him there.
Oh yeah, I saw some. I didn't know Al did, but
yeah,
I saw some news of that.
Yeah, pretty neat. So, guys, yeah, if you're on One True Sport, tune in tomorrow. You will see Blue Meanie and his show. Before I forget to, I also wanted to plug merchandise. We got some new RVD t-shirts at onetruesport.com. All the profit goes to me and RVD. So if you buy them there, they go straight to them, straight to Rob, straight to me. So go scan that QR code. We got the classic RVD ECW shirt. We got the new RVD Dragon shirt that I made. And then we have a 420 that's a reminiscent to the gas station, which is a cool little design that we have too. So scan that, take a look. We got some hats. We got a whole bunch of other stuff on there for Rob too. So good products there. And we have a Fonzie store too. So a lot of Fonzie stuff going on too if you want to take a look at that. All right. Boom. Let's see what else I want to cover. Maddie, I think, had another question maybe. Oh, he just had some comments. Have you seen the Sabu Living with Joe Henry video yet? Have you seen that one yet, I guess?
No,
I'm gonna
what
have to
is
look
it?
that up. So I guess there must be a
Were they
video.
together for some
They
reason?
must have been. I'll have to take a look. I'll do some research and find it, and if I see something, I'll send it to you, Rob.
I'm taking it that people are loving this Joe
He's
Henry. Is
great.
that
It
the
is a
deal?
lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. He was
cool.
just on NXT too. He's super over. He's like the hottest act right now in TNA, and the hottest act basically on NXT too, because he's jumping over there.
Okay,
Hmm.
cool.
Here's an interesting one. Maddie adds too. Can we get a movement for RVD versus Cody? Bong babies.
Yeah,
RVD versus Cody would be good.
you know what it is. I think the way that I understand the way the business runs, and ownership's changing, maybe perspectives probably have to change with that. But I've always had the understanding that WWE really wants to invest in not who's here today, but who's going to be here for the next 10 years,
Yeah. Hmm.
And I think thereby someone like RVD, like when I did my return in 2013 and 2014, it was there, like to work with the young guys to give them a rub, and then for a run, however long the contract was, to go in and do that, and then go out. But as far as bringing me in back then, like full time, I don't think anybody was interested in that. Me first off, but I think that it's because of that, because they sign young guys, and they plan on tomorrow and on the future, and that's the way they want to see it go, big picture, long plans, and so that's something to keep in mind, and that's why like AEW, they'll bring RVD in. It's like a special treat or surprise, or not a surprise, but it's a special moment, kind of happy thing, but he also has a bunch of talent on contract, and he's hoping those guys, the younger guys, will be there for a long time. But he's, where he's willing to do that, he's willing to do a lot of things that not only would some people say, would argue with as being the right thing to do, but also, like WWE's, because they are, would, from what I understand, maybe not be inclined as much to see the value in that. I don't know, though, but they bring celebrities in to do one-offs and shit like that, so that's kind of a contradicting thought too. But overall, I think that's where their focus is.
Yeah, you kind of see that trend going of like, hey, like what can we bring in NXT? Some established acts, but then they have a lot of the younger talent there that obviously want to try to get some experience with and move up to the main roster and all that kind of thing. But there is some times too where everything has kind of been open-minded. It seems a little bit more too. Hopefully, I don't know. I'd love to see like somebody like you get put back in the mix, and we've seen other guys and kind of people reestablish themselves or come back into the W fold a little bit. So it would be awesome. I'd love you and Cody. I mean, you and Cena would be great, obviously. So before we close it all out, before we get to RVDology, let's do a little housekeeping when it comes to some of our advertisers that we want to thank. First off, thanks to Blue Chew. Try Blue Chew for free. You can use promo code RVD and get your first package free. Only pay $5 shipping. Go to bluechew.com and promo code RVD. Another sponsor we're very happy to have is Get Blitzed. You also use promo code RVD. Go to get-blitz.com. It's Get Blitz Lit Nano 8 infused THC syrup. It is 100% legal in all 50 states. I have the blue raspberry. I just took some yesterday, and let me say it is very effective. So take a try with that if you like that. And the flavor's great too. I like that a lot. Delta 9, scan that QR code if you're watching, or go to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off. Thanks to Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney for doing all that stuff. And finally, we have our other sponsor, Via, when the Via Hemp Company. And let me say, they have a whole bunch of different gummies that you can choose from CBD to THC. I've tried both. I've tried the Elevate, which helps you keep focus, and that has THC in it, and very effective as well. Really, really works, and it's a good time. And also, I will say I like the CBD one, which is the Flow State, and that's one's really good. It really does help my attention. I took one actually before watching the show or doing the show here tonight, and I feel focused and dialed in. That has lion's mane in it too, so take a look at that. Go to Via, use that code RVD, and use the link below that's in the description here of this podcast. So cool. Rob, is there anything you want to?
The lion's mane that I'm taking, by the way, because I did a little research and they said you should get it made from the fruit of the plant, and then also that the extract is the best, and so what I got was the liquid sublingual drops because I read that's the best, or what I understood anyway from all the research I did. It tastes horrible, and it sucks. Yeah, it's like it never seems like a good idea. That's the same thing sometimes with the kratom powder. It's like sometimes, it's just not appealing. I don't really want to taste that, So that's a shame about that. But
oh man,
I also have lion's mane capsules and shit like that. But by the way, I'm always consistently saying that the kratom capsules don't seem to work nearly as good as the powder, and I will open them up and take the powder out, and then they're fine. But to experiment, I put a bunch of capsules, probably 5 or 7, in a glass of water, and it took 25 minutes for the wrapping of the capsule to actually dissolve. I know it's water, and maybe your stomach acids aren't a fair comparison, but I think that keeps the powder from getting into your system. In fact, I'm sure, although as I always say, everyone is different, everyone gets different reactions, but for those people like myself that have a hard time with the capsules, those capsules just don't release what they're holding in time, and it bypasses too much of your system. So just thought I'd share that experiment with you. I put them in water, and then I drank it. But I did it 2 days, and it, because first it was 20 minutes, it wasn't long enough. None of them dissolved, and then I did it for 30 minutes, and guess what? Half of them were dissolved. But anyway, dude, this weekend I am in Edmonton, Canada.
Ooh, hey.
At the mall, at the biggest mall in North America. Yeah, pretty fucking big. It's huge, amusement park and all kinds of stuff. So that'll be cool. And there's a wrestling show there, also besides the RVD signing. So that's Saturday. Just like always, you can look at robvandam.com and find that information. And then next week is the Cauliflower Rally Club, where you'll be, Dom. I think that's Monday through Wednesday. Do you know the schedule of events there? Because I haven't.
I wish I did. I was trying to look up at it on the website. I don't know the lineup of events.
Do you know if there's a dinner 2 nights instead of 1 night this time? It's usually 1 night, the last night, and I usually go to that.
Yeah.
He said he's obligated to 2 dinners right now, and and there's a lot more people that I'm familiar with that are getting awards next week than usual too. The Dudley Boys are gonna be getting awards. Sting, Jim Ross, Fonzie.
Kurt Angle's gonna be there too.
That's right. He's getting the award that I got, the Luthez.
How about that? That's sweet.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know what the lineup. So, okay. Well, here's the lineup of who's getting awarded. The Iron Mike Mazurki Award going to Sting. The Luthez Art Abrams Award goes to Kurt Angle.
David McLean's getting an award, the WoW promoter.
Oh, the WoW promoter. No way.
And the inventor of Glow, by the way.
And yes. Okay, yeah, the Carl Laurel. Oh, my God. That's easy for me to say. Carl Lauer. Oh, my God. Independent Promoter Award. And the Jim Ross. Hey, guess what? The Jim Ross Announcers Award is going to Jim Ross.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
Yeah. Women's Wrestling Award is going to Allison Danger. If you don't know her, that is Steve Carino's sister. Tag Team Award is going to the Dudley Boys. Men's Wrestling Award is going to Marcus Alexander Buff Bagwell, who I think, if nobody's posing as him, is actually in our chat right now. He says, RVD, if that is Buff. Hey, Buff, I have to hit him up with the website.
See you next week if that's you, dude.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Buff is the stuff. Let me make sure I got everybody. Oh, Lucha Libre Award going to Negro Casas. Oh, that almost got me in trouble. Red Bastion Award going to Lori McGee Hurst. Independent Wrestling Award going to Night Train, Gary Jackson. And hey, Charlie Smith Referee Award going to Fonzie, Bill Alfonso. Ooh. Can't wait. Real Award going to Todd Bridges. James C. Melby Historian Award going to Jason Presley. And a Courage Award is to be announced. So lots lined up. I wish I knew the dates. Which one is the dinner here? I was trying to look at some of the stuff, but I cannot find it.
By the way, when I got that award at the Cauliflower Rally Club, that Luthez Award, I remember when I was standing up there on the podium giving my speech, I remember specifically looking at Kevin Sullivan.
Really?
You know, yeah. Up to him, yeah. I said, hey, you guys could have warned me about Ron Slinker, which he knew what I meant. That was like an inside thing for him and for Brian Blair, the Tampa boys. They knew.
Yeah. Oh, Brian seems like a very nice person, too. I was interacting with him a little bit.
Yeah. He's the president of it. He runs it.
He runs the whole shebang.
Yeah, super dude.
Should be a fun week. Fun week, I guess it will be during the week. So, yeah, exciting for that. But, guys, check out Rob this weekend if you're in Edmonton and say howdy do to him. So he will be there this coming weekend here.
Cool. Let's address Maddie. Maddie asked me last week. He said, have you ever he was either have you ever had a friend use you or have you ever been used by a friend? I don't remember which way it was worded. I think it means the same thing. And what does that mean? You know, used usually has like a negative stigma attached to it. You know, you feel used, but it's not always negative. So first off, we got to define it. You know, I need a couple of big guys that can handle themselves tonight. You got anybody I can use? That's not a bad thing, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, I don't want my mom to see me when we cross the yard, man. Can I use you as a shield? You're being a friend. I'm using my friend as a shield. It's not always bad. You know, sometimes it's just a level of taking advantage, which again sounds bad. It's not always. Taking advantage of somebody's qualities, taking advantage of somebody's skills. It could be bad. It could be, you know, like, hey, he makes her cook for him all the time and slave in the kitchen because she makes great food, whatever. But it could also be, you know, like, hey, when I'm around the Sheik, I'm going to take advantage of his memory and get some good stories from him. You know, that's not a bad thing, right? So it really just depends. So when you say, have you ever been used by a friend? Of course, we all have. We've been used in good ways. And sometimes it's in a bad way. So I'm going to assume this was a bad way where you felt taken advantage of, again, in a bad way. And I can definitely relate to it. A few times pop into mind where I was taken advantage of. Like, let's see. I had something in mind. Well, I'll skip the first one then and go to the second one. I had a couple of guys. Trying to think of his name, Justin Sampus and Jesse Daly. And I met with Justin about starting my own cannabis line. And talking to the guy, it's not like there wasn't any red flags. He seemed like a fast talker. He seemed like more of a sales guy. But I thought maybe that'd be kind of a guy to do business with, you know. But they acted like they were friends. Jesse and him have been partners for a long time. They had their own CBD line, and they wanted to do an RVD line of CBD. I didn't know that they were going to be funneling money from one to the other the entire time. They didn't want me to know about that. But in the meantime, these guys acted like they were friends. Really my favorite people to be around? No. But at the same time, we all had a common goal, a common agenda. We had big plans. We wanted to make money and grow our company, make cannabis accessible for a lot of people. So dude, Justin would be at my house. He'd be like working out in my gym with me. Both of those guys were at my wedding. Every Tuesday we would have a talk, about the money. Money's coming in. Is there enough to start paying ourselves yet, or keep investing it? Well, we're close. They were already paying themselves. They just didn't want to tell Uncle Sam, because when an owner pays themselves, that's considered profit. And they were scumbags and very crooked. And it took forever to get Jesse to even straighten the books out enough so that he could present them to my accountant, which is how we eventually led to finding this out. Did I feel used? Fuck yeah. These guys were making money, getting paid off of my name, knowing that I'm not getting paid off it. That's happened a lot of times. What really will get you, if you haven't had this happen yet, hopefully you never will. Seems like about half the people do. But when you have somebody that is your closest person and you do everything for that person and commit your whole life to that person and become a couple and are married, and that person ends up fucking you over and leaving and taking as much money as they possibly can, way more money than they ever would have made on their own stupid self, because they don't have any skills or any talent or whatever. I mean, everybody's different. I'm just thinking about my specific situation when I read those colorful details there. But when you get to experience something like that, and then when the person that you committed everything to ends up being the person that also fucks you over the biggest, I think that probably tops your buddy, using you to get to your girlfriend's sister or something like that. There's all kinds of different levels. It does happen, and here's the deal with that. It hurts, and we don't have control over what happens to us. What we do have control over is how we react to it, and that's true with everything. So you're in control of how you react, not someone else. You can't say, it's your fault, man. You knew I get pissed every time you call me that. No, you're still in charge of the way you react to being called that. Don't fool yourself. Don't kid yourself. Let's be honest. And because of that, that's where your power is. So a lot of people, they get hurt. They don't want to get hurt again. So they don't put themselves in situations ever where they could get hurt again. And by that means, it's really sad that my dog died. I'm never going to have a dog again. I got broken up with my girlfriend. I'm never going to date a girl again. I just want to be myself. My buddy fucked me over. Fuck the world. So people do that, and they say, DTA, don't trust anybody. And what RVDology says to that is that's one way. You can live that way. A lot of people do. And who am I to say what's wrong for them? But I don't believe in that way. I think that you're depriving yourself of future love if you're never going to love again because you had your heart broke. And how are you going to debate against that? That is what's happening. You're not going to allow yourself to feel some really good emotions. And so therefore, are you giving yourself a better quality of life by sheltering yourself in? Yeah, you don't ever leave the house and then, no one's ever going to fuck with you. True. But you also have your life to live, and you only have one life to live. So I would say don't let this stop you from doing what you want to do, and don't let being hurt stop you from being the person that you want to be. And that's what happens a lot of people. It changes people. Every experience kind of changes us because now our perspective is that much bigger because it's added that new experience to it. Therefore, we're looking at it with a little more experience, a little different perspective than we had before. That's a good thing. That's why experience is the best teacher. You get experience firsthand from yourself, or you get experience second or third hand from other people's experience, hearing stories, reading about something, and just applying what you can learn from that towards yourself. I say if somebody hurts you, then what happened was you probably are forced to realize that you don't have what you thought you had. You have something that's different from what you thought you had. You thought you had this relationship. You could completely trust forever. That person would never do anything for you, or you don't even need to worry about it. You never thought about it. But really what you got is this person that isn't flawless. It's a person that could make mistakes. It could be something that's forgivable, but just don't forget. And if it's big enough and bad enough, then maybe you shouldn't be friends, or maybe you should make that. But if it's big enough to where that is the focus of your whole relationship, then that's pretty big. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? My evil ex will always be my evil ex. Why? Because she completely flipped after spending all my money for 18 years, told her lawyer and wrote all this stuff down in a complaint so that she could get paid as much money as possible. She said, and this was 2018, 2019, said there's no reason I shouldn't go back to WWE and work full time so I can pay her for the rest of her life. I'm faking the concussion symptoms that were exploited in Headstrong. I'm addicted to drugs. I'm addicted to weed. And all these ridiculous fake expenditures that we used to go on these vacations, and we got brand new cars all the time because she chose to go out that way. That will always be the thing that comes up when I think about her. And so she's always going to be my evil ex, and I don't want anything else from her. I hope I never see the bitch again. With Abyss, with there was Joe Bruce. Who was the other guy that I said I heard? Oh, with Rhyno, there won't always be, it's always going to be something. Maybe it might be the first thing that stands out, but I love Rhyno. It's not going to be the only factor to our whole relationship. If it is, then that's fine. Move on and learn from it. You are going to get hurt again. Be more ready for it next time. It's okay to pull back your trust a little bit. You don't get to know for sure that anybody will never hurt you. You don't get to know that. That's not part of life. You do not get to know any more than you get to know what happens after you die. You don't know. So, doesn't mean you can't trust people. You're going to get hurt. And sometimes it takes time. It always takes time. There's grievances, and sometimes you're not ready to get another dog yet or whatever. That's fine. And there's no need to rush anything. But in the bigger picture, RVDology says DTA is something that I don't do. I like to look at good in people. I like to trust people, but you know what? Trust them a certain amount. There's a lot of people that I would trust to do me a lot of favors that I wouldn't trust to stay in my house over the weekend when I'm not here.
Yeah. There's
limits to your trust. Look at it that way. And if it's something that you can't forgive the person because this thing that happened is bigger than your relationship with them, then that's how it's going to be, and that's fine too. But just remember, our ideology says don't let being hurt change you from being the person that you want to be. Period.
I love it, Rob. It's great stuff. I think about like when you have those moments of hurt, or you feel like even like moments of like, oh man, like this person really like demeaned, or like I feel shame almost, or something like that. Just be aware of those thoughts and be like, yeah, that's a feeling that I'm having. But it doesn't necessarily mean something that you could have controlled or anything like that. This is this person doing their own thing, and this is the decision they're making. You only can control what you can control, and just learn from it. And yeah,
Good job not telling them to pick a hand if that's not the best move.
that's it.
It seldom is the best move, but sometimes it is. I was talking to Katie earlier. We were talking about getting ripped off by promoters, and I remembered 2 different times when I was really young where the promoter doesn't have money for me. I've already wrestled. I'm trying to get paid just like the rest of the card. And the guy's telling me he's going to mail me a check. So I'm thinking there's maybe a 20% chance that I'll get the check in the mail. But if I beat the dude's ass, there's no way I'm getting the check. So should I beat his ass because he fucked me over and he's probably not going to pay me anyway? Or should I just hope that the check arrives and go home? And that's happened a couple of times to me when I was younger, and it was because I really wanted the $150, and so otherwise, if I didn't care about the money, then I would have just beat the dude's ass, and I would have felt better about it. One of the times was a real famous one. This dude, his name was Joe Lake, and he ran this show in Detroit, an indie show that was like WrestleMania show. He had like everybody. I think Hercules was on that, and Jim Neidhart and Greg Valentine. I think Honky Tonk Man, me and Sabu. He just had so many people on it. And then when it came time to get paid, he stiffed everybody. The way I remember it, Jim Neidhart the next day wouldn't get on his plane to go home, and instead went with the guy to his work and to where his mom works to get his money, and the other guys got it right got it right from the box office, before that emptied out. And these guys were serious about, hey man, we didn't just fucking leave our homes and come here and work our asses off so you could fucking be entertained. You owe us, but it's a dirty business. It's sometimes that happens. Try to avoid it.
You gotta avoid it. Gotta avoid it.
Yeah. Bonus story, because I know people remember that. The other boys remember that were there. Joe Lake, I think Barbarian might have been there, and there's so many guys. I'm gonna ask Sabu about that and see if he remembers, because Sabu was the one I think that that gave him my number. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, dude. Just keep moving forward, dude. Keep your goals, keep your values in mind, and be somebody that you want to be. We all have that power.
He says, thanks, RVD. Yeah, he really appreciate it, man. He's a big-time listener here on that, so we appreciate the question. Good stuff. And great RVD. RVD is the best part of the show, I think. It's RVDology, I mean. And it's always very informative, so good stuff.
Appreciate you, Dom. I appreciate you, Van Dam fam.
Mm-hmm.
Be back here next week for some more.
That's it. Guys, tune in.
Hey. Any suggestions, by the way? I like that, if you have something specific that you'd like to hear me talk about in the next week, start making that a routine. Fucking picking up questions.
Guys, always make suggestions for RVDology and stuff like that. If there's like a life situation that you have going on, or something that you would want to handle a different way or get a different perspective on, RVD will provide that for you. Just shoot us a message on social media, or get it cooking in the chat here. You don't even have to freaking do a super chat. You can just drop it in there, and I can keep my eyes peeled for it. So.
Or if you don't want to, fuck it. I have 3 or 4 things I could talk about tonight anyway.
That's it.
Talked a lot, just like always. Katie and D are like, okay, the show's long enough.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. So we will, guys, see you next week here on One of a Kind.
Next week.
With RVD.
Damn.